Welcome to our podcast, diving into the Convention C.098, the Right to Organize and Collective Bargaining Convention from 1949. It's pretty foundational in the realm of international labor standards.
Absolutely, there's so much to unpack here. What's the first thing that really stands out to you in this convention?
The very core is protecting workers against anti-union discrimination. Basically, Article 1 spells out that workers must be shielded from conditions that force them not to join a union or even lose their job because of union activities. It's like saying,
Yep,
hey, you have a right to organize without fear.
right. That really sets a tone for a fair environment in workplaces globally. It's a powerful message for labor rights.
Exactly. And then in Article 2, there's this strong stance against interference. It ensures that neither workers' organizations nor employers' organizations meddle in the other's business. It's like they're saying, stay in your lane, so to
I
speak.
see that. That sounds pretty critical. I mean, isn't that what sometimes weakens collective bargaining systems? The interference you normally see from the other side?
Yes, definitely. The convention is very clear that any attempt by one side to dominate the other, especially by promoting friendly unions under employer control, is simply not acceptable. It's a way to guarantee genuine representation.
So then, how do they ensure that these rights aren't just wishful thinking but are actually implemented?
Great point. Article 3, for instance, talks about establishing machinery that fits each country's national conditions. It's like giving each nation a tailor-made toolbox to enforce the right to organize.
Yeah, it's like custom fit solutions, right? Exactly. It's not a one size fits all approach. It respects the diversity of conditions across countries.
And following that, Article 4 pushes further, urging measures to promote voluntary negotiations between employers and workers' organizations. So, it's not just about protection, it's about encouraging dialogue and fair
Right?
agreements.
Kind of like a mediator in a family discussion, ensuring things get sorted out amicably. Yeah, I see what you mean. But I've heard some argue that sometimes these measures, while ideal in theory, are not enforced as robustly in practice.
True, that's a valid critique. While the convention lays a strong framework, its effectiveness often depends on how national governments implement and monitor these provisions. It's like having the best blueprint, but the building depends on the contractor.
Indeed. And what about the sections regarding the armed forces and police? I noticed Article 5 suggests that the application varies by national laws.
Yes, in Article 5, it's clear that workers in the armed forces and police have their level of protection determined by national laws. So, while the convention sets a minimum standard, it leaves room for variations. It's like saying, we know you'll handle this differently, but here's the baseline.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I assume they wanted to ensure that public servants, especially those handling state administration, are treated separately.
Spot on. Article 6 specifically states that the convention doesn't encroach on the rights or status of public servants involved in state administration. It's a careful separation to avoid conflicts with established public
Right.
service norms.
So, moving on from the rights and protections, how does the convention handle the formalities of becoming legally binding?
That's laid out in Articles 7 and 8. Essentially, the ratifications need to be communicated to the Director General of the International Labor Office. It then becomes binding only to those members who officially register and follow through with the protocols.
So, it's formal and very procedural.
Exactly. It even specifies timelines, like a 12-month window after the second country ratifies it for it to come into force. It sets a clear roadmap for international adoption.
That's interesting because it creates, you might say, a sort of domino effect. Once it starts, it grows and binds more members over time.
Right. And then Articles 9 and 10 dive into the details of declarations. Countries can specify how they apply the convention, with or without modifications, and even later tweak their stances if needed.
Yeah, that makes it flexible, right? Flexibility is key, but doesn't that also open up a lot of room for interpretation issues between states?
That's a fair point. On one hand, this flexibility allows adaptation to local contexts. On the other, it might muddy the waters when it comes to universal standards. But the intention is clear: to preserve the essence of the right to organize irrespective of minor variations.
I get that.
Then we see Article 11, talking about denunciation. Countries can opt out after 10 years if they choose, though there's this mechanism to essentially lock in the commitment for successive 10-year periods unless they decide to formally denounce. It's like a renewable contract.
Yeah, that renewable cycle ensures that countries can't just walk away on a whim. They have to stick with their commitments for significant periods.
Precisely. And Articles 12 to 14 discuss more on communication and oversight. The Director General has the responsibility to notify all members about ratifications and any changes. It ensures transparency and, well, keeps everyone on the same page.
Right, transparency is crucial here. I like how the convention balances between being a set framework and allowing national nuances. But do you think this might also lead to inconsistencies in its enforcement?
It definitely can. While the framework is robust, its real-world application depends on each country's governance. It's like having a rule book that some teams follow meticulously while others might, interpret loosely.
Yeah, I can see that happening.
And finally, Article 15 deals with the relationship between this convention and any future revising instruments. Essentially, if a new convention comes along that revises these principles, ratifying the new one automatically denounces this one, but only for new ratifications. Existing ones can still stick with the old text if they choose not to revise.
That's pretty clever. It creates a smooth transition without an abrupt overhaul for those who've long adhered to the original version. And Article 16, with its note on the dual authoritative texts in English and French, reminds us of the global and historical origins of these labor rights. It reinforces that both language versions carry equal weight.
Absolutely, it's a final nod to the convention's foundation in the post-war push for global labor rights and equality. It's like seeing how these international instruments have evolved over time, yet their core principles remain essential.
Yeah, it's fascinating to think about. What really impresses me is how, despite the complexities and the bureaucratic language, the convention ultimately champions a very human cause, protecting workers' rights and ensuring real opportunities for collective action.
Exactly, it's all about empowering workers and ensuring fair and dignified treatment, regardless of the economic or political pressures that sometimes exist in different countries.
Totally agree. One aspect that might be argued, though, is that while these rights are proclaimed widely, enforcement mechanisms at the national level may vary drastically. How do you see that playing out?
That's a critical point. The convention provides the framework, but implementation is indeed at risk of being inconsistent. It all boils down to political will and the strength of local institutions. Some countries might, as you said, enforce these rights rigorously, while others face challenges.
Yeah, and that's where advocacy and international oversight come in. It really underscores the importance of those regular reviews and reports mentioned, ensuring that the standards aren't just symbols, but actively guide policy and practice.
Exactly. And the periodic reports and reviews help maintain accountability. It's like an ongoing conversation among nations about how we've all got to meet these standards, adapting as needed, but never losing sight of protecting workers.
That's a solid way to frame it. Overall, it's a comprehensive document that provides both protection and a roadmap for labor rights across the globe. It might be technically dense, but its heart is truly about human dignity in the workplace.
Absolutely. It's a timeless reminder of the struggle for and importance of labor rights. And even as we navigate today's challenges, its principles still resonate in our ongoing discussions about fairness
Right on.
and collective strength.